Hey there, Ninbuzz. Pwnobi, also known as TheAcousticKind here, bringing you a Pokemon Narrated Wi-Fi Battle. My opponent is going to be Sikes84, and this is going to be a UU/NU mixed tier battle. The only criteria is that we're allowed to bring up to 4 UUs and the rest NU or lower. My opponent's actually going to be using only 2 UUs, which I thought was pretty impressive on his part. You might recognize me from my first upload, which was a Super Smash Bros. Melee upload. My channel actually has quite a variety of content, including Nintendo-related videos, as well as Pokemon Narrated Wi-Fi Battles and other Pokemon content. So without further ado, why don't we just go ahead and get onto the battle. It's going to be a little quick, so hopefully you guys can keep up. As I said, UU/NU mixed here. My opponent's going to lead with a Claydol while I lead with my Puffing Tom, a Quillfish, which was recently added to the UU environment. I'm going to go for an Aqua Jet, hoping that I could get a 3-hit KO, knowing he'd probably go for the Stealth Rocks first turn, and then I have a Focus Sash. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it would have been a 3-hit KO whatsoever, but I get a lucky critical hit. He's going to go for an Earth Power, which is super effective, and Stab, but it's not even going to knock me down to my Focus Sash, so it didn't really matter. I'm just going to go for the Explosion, thinking he was going to stay in at that point, but he makes an amazing play, predicts that, and goes to a Ghost type for the immunity. I'm going to switch out to my Special Wall, a Registeel, exchange statuses with him, and now I'm thinking he's a supportive set, considering that he just showed a Will-O-Wisp, so I believe I'm going to set up my Stealth Rocks here, thinking I can take anything a supportive set would handle, and probably even an offensive set, to be honest. So yeah, now I'm going to have to switch out here to test the waters and see if this guy carries Earthquake. He actually goes for the Leech Seed on this turn, making me think that this guy might be a supportive set as well. So a really bulky supportive team by the opponent. So I'm just going to set up a Reflect, and my opponent's going to pay me back and get a crit, which super effective crit is actually not going to kill. So I'm actually really surprised that he had Leech Seed and Crunch. Crunch is kind of an unconventional move to see on a Torterra, at least from my experience, alongside Leech Seed, which you normally see with Substitute or Protect and things of that nature. So I'm going to switch back out to my Simmer Down version 3, thinking he does not have Earthquake, that he's some sort of supportive set with kind of off-the-wall sort of attacks for random type coverage. He does carry Earthquake, however, which is going to force me to switch back into my Good Day Sir for the Levitation immunity, then switch to my Sanji version 2 for the resistance to the Crunch, which worked out pretty well, although the opponent got a defense drop with that Crunch, which is quite unfortunate. Luckily for me, he is going to switch out, and I went for the Rapid Spin, hoping he would either switch out or go for the Leech Seed. So that got rid of my Stealth Rocks, which frees the field for me to switch into my Air Freshener. My opponent's also going to go for the Rapid Spin, which is pretty nice for him. I'm just going to go for the Heal Bell, considering that I thought he might go for Rocks or switch out. He's actually going to go for Toxic, which doesn't really bother me, because at this point I'm safe to go for the Ice Beam, knowing he'll either set up the Rocks, which I can Rapid Spin away later. The only risky move there is that he could have gone for perhaps Explosion. So I'm going to switch out to my Turtle Tiger version 3, a Physical Wall Blastoise. And my opponent's going to set up a Substitute. He's going to go for Focus Punch, and I misclicked and went for Rapid Spin on that turn. I actually meant to go for Roar. They're both normal moves. They both start with an R. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying enough attention, and that kind of cost me. Although the opponent's actually using a Life Orb Magmar, which coupled with Substitute I would argue is a sort of bad combination. I'm going to go for the Aqua Jet, just predicting him to go for a status, which I could easily Heal Bell away later. So I knew the Aqua Jet wouldn't do much damage. Considering that he used Will-O-Wisp before, I did not think he was an offensive set carrying the Thunderbolt like a lot of Drifblooms do. So that was a misplay on my part, but I'm just going to go ahead and go to my Simmer Down version 3, knowing it's a special wall, and I can rest off the damage. So that works out pretty well for me, considering that my opponent is poisoned. He's going to get his Salic Berry boost, or Pataya Berry, I'm sorry, to increase his special attack, but it's not going to really matter because I'm a Special Wall Registeel and he has no Stab super effective move. So I'm going to switch out, predicting the Focus Punch, go to my physical bulky Uxie, knowing that it resists, and my opponent's going to actually kill himself off with a Flare Blitz. So I'm just going to go for the Rest, knowing I can outspeed him a Choke and I resist his Stab. He goes for the Dynamic Punch just to get Confusion Hacks on me. So now I'm going to switch out to my Sanji version 2. Luckily, he's going to go for the not very effective Payback. I wasn't necessarily predicting that, although I did consider it an option. He's going to Protect to block my Fake Out, because he's probably seen my videos, because Sykes and I are good buddies. And I'm just going to go for the Drain Punch, and unfortunately he's going to kill me with a critical hit Dynamic Punch, which unfortunately did matter. Although, it probably wouldn't have mattered if he had got the Confusion hacks. I guess that's something we won't really know. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for an Ice Beam, which worked out pretty well for me. And my opponent's going to bring in Eradicate. He's going to go for a Facade, while I went for a Heal Bell. Now, I would have just gone for an Ice Beam there, but I thought he might carry Protect, because a lot of Eradicates do. At least that I've encountered, just so they can get their Flame Orb activated. I went to Uxie thinking I could take 2 hits and set up a Reflect, but that was incorrect, as it does just a little over half, I believe. So I went to my Resist in Simmer Down version 3, go for the Seismic Toss while he switches out to his Clay Doll, perhaps his Death Fodder. It does carry the super effective Earth Power, though. And I'm just going to switch out to my Air Freshener, knowing it blocks this thing, and he might set up the Rocks, and I need to get this thing in before Rocks get set up, because it takes 50% damage. So that was a good series of plays for me. I'm going to switch out here, which was probably a bad play. I probably could have just stayed in and gone for an Ice Beam, and then finished this guy off with an Aqua Jet. I was hoping his Raticate would carry Sucker Punch, he'd predict my Aqua Jet, and I'd be able to rest up. But that's not the case. And I'm just going to go for a Roost here, knowing that I know this Torterra's move pool, and doesn't carry anything that can really do much to me. Unfortunately, he is going to get a defense drop, which, after the defense drop, I don't believe my Articuno will be able to survive a Facade. So, those defense drops were a bit unfortunate, but I guess it happens. So now it's very, very close at this stage. I'm just going to bring in my Simmer Down version 3, go for a Seismic Toss, and the Poison's going to finish him off. I'm sorry, did I say Poison? I mean the Burn, of course, is going to finish him off. So that was a really great game, Sykes. I realized that narration was perhaps a little speedy, a little bit speedier than normal, but it was a fairly long battle, and a very fun one at that. A 1-0, very close. I hope everyone had a really fun time watching. Of course, if you want more Pokemon Narrated Wi-Fi Battles, or other Nintendo-related content, or even Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, feel free to drop by my channel. And if you'd like to check out my opponent, Sikes84, he also does high-quality Pokemon videos. So that's it for me, Ninbuzz. I'm signing out. Peace.